go ahead, ready? Call the meeting to order. We'll start with a roll call. McKee here, Lanterman
Here.
Friedrich
Here.
Ehrenkamp
Here.
Nichols.
Here.
Alrighty. Like to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty. On to agenda approval. Is there anything from staff? Any changes?
Just we had those two closed session items, and it's now only one, Mr. Mayor. Other than that, no other changes.
Okay, anything from council? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended with just one closed session.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Alrighty. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Excuse me 1 second. I don't think my mic.
I wasn't sure about that either. Can you guys hear us?
Test 1 2 3 test.
Try it again.
Hello, hello, hello. Dean's works.
Sibyllus.
Matt says something.
Oh, it's out there. I can
Bueller,
kind of hear a little echo.
as Mark would say, Bueller.
Well, as long as it seems like it's getting picked up on the recording and everyone can
Yeah.
hear us, we should be good. Alrighty. No presentations today. Open forum for anything not on today's agenda.
So at this time, if anybody has anything that they'd like to talk about, please bring a card up to me, and then you'll have 3 to 5 minutes to address your issue to the council. I've received no cards, Mr. Mayor,
Okay.
no emails, no phone calls.
Easy enough. If there's not anyone, then we will move on to consent agenda, which consists of items 6A through 6N. Does anyone want to pull anything?
If I could, Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
If I could pull E, F,
Okay.
I think that's the only two I wanted.
I had E and F, and I'll also pull G
And H2, please.
and H. Okay.
There we go.
And so then I will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items A through D and I through N.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. E, Dean, do you want to?
Yeah, our community is awesome. The holiday toy and food drive, Toys for Tots donations, everything that happened. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, staff. Everybody that appeared either in person or thought about us while we got wet and Winter Wonderland and the parade and stuff. It was a blast, you guys. I did also want to recognize, and I think I did already once, but I want to do it again, Public Works for staying home and cleaning up our roads the next day. I know how involved they usually are with that, with the parade and stuff, and it just, everything went well. We did just fine without them, and thank them for doing what they did the following day as far as the snowfall that came down. So that's number one. I'll do E and F together if I could.
Sure.
The police department shop with a cop. Thank our police department and what they do and how they do it. That means a lot to the people affected and such. It's neat what our community, our municipal community here, our employees here do, and then obviously the support from our neighbors and all of the citizens in town here. Thank you all very, very much. If nobody has anything else to say.
Could I just say one thing?
Go ahead.
So I just wanted to throw this out because you might be aware that it happened, but I think the details are pretty helpful for the public and those who are watching online. So the holiday toy and food drive for the community was able to collect 2,030 pounds of food, 1,056 pounds of toys, and $2,400 in monetary donations. And then when you look at the Toys for Tots, I just wanted to call out some of the people that are stepping up in the community. So the Ebert Construction, the Ebert family, the Corcoran Lions, the Northwest Area JCs, the Stanchion, the Life Assembly Church, the Maple Grove Hy-Vee, and the Maple Grove Target. All of those organizations, plus other private donors, changed the lives of a whole lot of families this Christmas, and so thankful for them.
Mr. Mayor, just real quick, thank you, Jade. I don't know if we had it broken out as far as contributions and stuff, but the one further I'd like to do is the stanchion, over $16,000 in the celebrity bartender evening there.
Wow.
And that's huge. And if you did not see, I was able to actually meet up with them at Target. Nearly 50 shopping carts full of toys. We loaded up a pretty large trailer, took them to the stanchion, and then unloaded them in the stanchion, and there was toys everywhere for 4 days. So, pretty cool what that team does there, along with everything we do here, and all the names that you just gave. But that's a big deal. It beat last year's numbers by more than $4,000 in contributions. So, pretty cool.
Very cool. Thanks for highlighting that. Anything else on that? Otherwise, I will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items.
E and F.
E and F,
I would
thank
do
you.
that.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Perfect. And then I had G, which I believe, if I have my, yes I do. Just wanted to thank Councilmember Nichols for his donation to the, how did we word it? See My Legacy. I think you're the third to donate to it, so.
I was inspired by a 2-year-old.
My
Who I
son
think was the first donor.
no, the second. JCB corrected me on that. JCB was first.
Okay.
Logan, my son, was second, and you are third. So
Bronze medal.
there you go. And we appreciate all the donations. So thank you.
And we can use more. So
Yes,
for
we
those
could.
who aren't aware of the See My Legacy program, it allows those who are interested to donate funds either for specific projects in the park or just in general in order to try and help get amenities that we otherwise couldn't afford.
For sure. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve consent agenda 6G.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And then H.
Yeah, I had a really quick question. I love that we're adding a new event for all the events that the city's doing. I just had a question because I think the Northwest JCs also does a trunk or treater trunk. And are we doing a coordination with them, or don't they do that anymore? I'm just double checking so we don't have two events that are happening at the same time.
Yeah, we can certainly check on that. The day that we're proposing a Thursday evening, so that may help with any conflict, but we'll double check that. The intention is not to have an event on the same day as their event if they're still having one.
Yeah, and I don't know which day it is, but I think they do. Unless they don't do it anymore, but I'm pretty sure they did have one.
We can double check on that. I know JCB's aware of this, and I feel like she would know if they are
Yeah, she's
doing
part
one.
of she is
Yeah.
part of, or participates with the JC.
It doesn't come up on their main list of events, but we can have her dig into that.
Yep.
Follow up.
Okay.
Perfect. Any other questions? Then I'll entertain a motion to approve consent agenda 6H.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Perfect. And that completes consent agenda, so we will move on to planning business, which we have a concept plan for the Springs at Corcoran. And we'll start with just a public comment opportunity. So if you'd like to speak on this item, Jay, is it three or 5 for these? I forget. Minute.
Say that one more time for public
3 or 5
comments.
minute for public comment.
It's 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay, perfect. If you'd like to come up, state your name and address for the record, and the mic is
So-
yours.
We have 3 comment cards, Mr. Mayor, and the first one would be Ms. Kim Svoboda.
My name's Kim. I live at 19570 102nd Place in Corcoran, Bellwether. And I wanted to discuss a few things. I went through I believe about 80 pages that were on the agenda for the spring. And there were a few comments and miscellaneous things throughout. I know I have 5 minutes, I got to go fast. First thing is I wanted to talk about the three different trails that they touched on. The first one being the Three Rivers Diamond Lake Extension. I know some of you probably know originally was on the other side of 116, but then was moved into Bellwether back in 2021 before there was any houses in Bellwether. Then it was moved to go through Hunter's Ridge, which has got mapped and moved because they want to do an underpass further up. So it's even more within the community. And there's a possibility that now I understand, I'm not sure where it lands, but it could go within 6 feet of one of my neighbor's dining room windows. And we just want to propose that when they do research that they take into consideration the location of where that really goes, where in Bellwether. The second one, they touched on the off-road trail that was proposed to go through the Springs area, and how they now want to possibly move it to align with the Diamond Lake Trail. So again, the same concerns there with that. I'm not sure if that's the best, Bellwether, I'm sure you all know, we're 55 and over, we're old people. Our trails are used by people with wheelchairs, canes, walkers. Some of us are able to still move around. We don't move fast, so people coming by fast on bikes or whatever, I understand none of these are motorized trails, which are all great, but just to also keep that in mind that we are older people and we aren't necessarily going to use dams beyond the Bellwether area, a lot of us. The third one that was mentioned in there is that I understand Continental is willing to work with the snowmobile group to figure out how they're going to handle that, because first I appreciate that it was addressed earlier this year, and it has been very nice that it was moved and a great relief. I still had a few times where I've been woken up at 1:30 in the morning because you can post a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, but when the bars close, they're going to full throttle across the field or whatever. But it's much better than it would have been, and I appreciate that it was moved, but I want it to be considered when, however they're going to figure out how to remove it, readjust it again, where it's going to go. We ask that it not be along our property lines, because right now it's probably, I'm guessing, about 175 to 200 feet away, not the 250 normal, but it's better than less than 50 feet where it would have been. Much better. So if it's still going to come out of the woods, please let it go south towards 30 and not north towards our property line. Second thing that I wanted to address is our grove of trees that we have behind our homes right there on 102nd that will be on the border to the Springs development. It was briefly touched upon in their presentation online, and I just want to make a plea to, if there's any way to make that a preserved area. We love trees. We want to save our world, save the whole bit, and they also touched on trying to rezone the little area between the trees and our lot line, and I really don't want to see a rezoning from less than 50 feet where it currently is for a business park to 35 feet for commercial, where it's just so that they can go closer to our property line. I would like that very much considered for that not to be changed. Then in regards to the Springs itself, just very appreciative that there's already a meeting set up for February 5th to work with homeowners on their concerns regarding, because we have 3 houses that will back right to it or adjacent to it. And we have safety, privacy, noise, lights, just all kinds of things to address. I think there's means for us all to work together and hopefully come to a mutually agreeable solution to it all. But just want to make sure that, there's 294 units. I know it could have been a lot more based on what I've read. It could have been in that area, so we're thankful for that. And it's 2 stories. That's also wonderful, not a 5-story building behind us. Appreciate that a lot. Hoping that the distribution is equal throughout the development. That's a little hard to tell based on these early plans. Hoping that the 4 buildings that are really that affect us aren't like all the 3 bedroom ones, that they're evenly distributed studios, 1, 2, 3 bedrooms, so that we don't have the density of the whole population in our back corner. Curious, it's hard to tell on the map what the actual distance for the 8-car parking garage and the first of those buildings back to us. I know they have this the different codes and where they should be, but it's hard to tell what they're actually planning.
Kim, we're just about at 5 minutes. If
Okay. Just a
Yep,
second
you can just
on it?
wrap it up. Yep.
Okay. It does look like on the side by the trees that they're extending partially into the trees on that back lot. And again, I just ask, let's try to preserve as many of the trees as we can. I've said that we do think there's possible resolutions between berms, fences, landscaping, all kinds of ideas to throw out there when we meet, and hopefully we can figure out things. I know there's some universal guidelines for when single-family homes touch up to apartments with perimeter buffers or parking buffers, that type of thing. I thank everybody for letting me speak. I'm not looking for, I'm here looking for your compassion and what's right in 2026, not what was right in 2021. Let's all try to work together for each other, not look for legal loopholes and ways to make things happen just because you legally can or whatever. Let's try to work together and be a community. We're retired people, we care about our homes and our upkeep, and we don't know what will move into apartment buildings, and they're usually a stepping grounds for them to move on. We want to make sure that we're protecting our property value. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
Anyone? You give your name and address for the record?
My name is Deb Stockhill. I live at 19572 102nd Place. So my house is at the corner, right there, at the corner of the Plains. So everything that happens in the Springs will affect me first, Kim second, and Linda third, because we're right at that corner. I would just like to be informed about what's happening. I'd like to make sure that there are physical barriers around the construction area, protecting our properties and us. Our yards are tiny. I do a lot of landscaping. I want to make sure that that's not damaged during this process and beyond. I really like to encourage the builders to place physical barriers around that area. I know that there are going to be kids and teenagers and dogs and people running back and forth through that property, which they should, if that's where they live. I just would like them not to be in my backyard on, midnight on Saturday night. I had a teenager. I know what they do. She's a great kid now, but I know that she got into some antics when she was younger, and I would just like to discourage the kids and the animals from ending up in our yard. So I would just like to be informed about that whole process. I'd like us protected. As Kim said, I hope we've done the snowmobile trail discussion and that's over with. That was way too close to our houses. And I'll just reiterate that we're retired people who moved into Bellwether to live a quiet, calm, peaceful life. And we're pretty much crime-free at this point, and we would really like to stay that way. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deb.
Anyone else?
Last one is Linda Herman.
Perfect.
Hi, I'm Linda Herman. I live at 19568 102nd Place, and these are my two neighbors. I'm the first one on the west side, and my biggest concern is literally the path that is in existence right now is 6 feet from my dining room. So right next to my house, within 6 feet, which is really close. So depending on what they do with that trail, I would appreciate knowing what's going on and being informed of any decisions and making sure it's actually takes place.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else?
No other comment cards.
Perfect. Then we will move on to the presentation.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
too, just quick, folks, you're talking a lot of specifics. You need to, I hope y'all realize, and if I'm incorrect, Natalie, obviously let me know. This is a concept plan. This is the beginning of it
Yes,
all.
the first
So
of
just
many.
FYI. So, thank you for your input.
Thank you. So this is, the Springs at Corcoran is the name of the development, and as you said, this is a concept plan, and it's a concept for a PUD proposal. The applicant for the concept plan is Continental, and they are soliciting feedback from council on the PUD concept plan for the property at 19330 County Road 30, which is just west of Mama G's. The proposal includes a 294-unit market rate apartment community that's primarily focused on the west half of the overall site. So it's approximately, and then approximately 34.5 gross acres would be reserved for future commercial development on the east half. This is the current rendition of the concept plan. And I just wanted to point out, there are a number of public streets that would run through this. I think it actually comes out for the full concept, including the commercial right now, it looks about 6 roads that would either be extended or constructed as a part of the overall concept. And then with the main access coming from County Road 30 and having a connection to County Road 101 as well. So the site overall is 67.21 acres. Most of the site is guided for mixed use and zone general mixed use. And then for this, the 2040 comp plan assumes up to half the net acres will be developed with a residential density of 8 to 30 units per acre. And then the rest is really supposed to be reserved for commercial. A portion of the site is adjacent to Mama G's and is guided for commercial and zoned community C2 community commercial. So as I said, most of it is this general mixed use, which is this light pink color, and then where we see Mama G's in the red and black stripe, that is a C2 district. The whole site's located within the Northeast District, and the general idea of this proposal has been presented to the city both in 2022, but the area was concentrated on the east half of the site, or for the residential area was concentrated on the east portion of the site. And then we looked at this again in April 2025 with additional discussions that have been taking place in terms of how this fits in with our economic goals. So prior council feedback, the most recent council feedback that we received, there was an interest expressed in looking at an east to west residential alignment along the north where it would border, the site borders Bellwether, while increasing commercial presence along County Road 30. The applicant did do their due diligence to look at the feasibility of this and came to the conclusion that it really would not allow for them to keep a connected residential community. They felt with the public streets that would really result in a disjointed product that doesn't align with their goals. So they are asking that we reconsider allowing this north to south alignment on the west portion for the residential community. The current proposal is also different in that it is a planned unit development being proposed, whereas before we were looking at addressing flexibilities either through variances or zoning ordinance amendments. To simplify that, we're now looking at just a PUD. So the focus of this concept plan and the discussion is really looking at those PUD flexibilities and public benefits as currently proposed, because that's one of the main requirements of a concept plan for a PUD. That's what the biggest part that we want to look at so that there are no surprises on the back end. The feasibility study was initiated by the applicant and is anticipated to be completed at the end of January. That is currently being worked on through engineering, looking at the road alignment, and that'll also feed into how the improvements are phased. They're looking at more than the road alignment, I apologize. They're also looking at, what else are you guys looking at?
all utilities and infrastructure, so roads, sewer, water, primarily.
Perfect, thank you. So again, this is the overview of the overall site. We have 294 market rate rental units being proposed in 14 two-story buildings. Just to answer one of the questions, each building would have a similar mix of units. They do describe that in their narrative, and they feel free to correct me wrong during your own presentation, but just wanted to call that out, that it wouldn't be one building has all the studios. It would be each building has a mix of different unit types. They are supposed to be a townhome style unit, with each unit having either a private or a semi-private entrance. But they're a little different than a usual townhome in that they are stacked units. 5 future commercial lots are conceptually planned on the east side, and then just wanted to, the residential community also includes a clubhouse, pool, attached and detached garages, and then several internal pedestrian connections, basically private trails that they're proposing. As far as the net acreage, as we compare this against the GMU and mixed-use land use guidance in our comprehensive plan, net acreage-wise, the residential portion is on approximately 25.4 net acres with a density of 11.57 units per acre. So this is about 69% of the site that is in the mixed-use designation, whereas the commercial portion that falls under the mixed-use zoning would be about 11.57 net acres, which is about 31%. So the goal that we lay out in our comp plan is a 50-50 assumption. I would say the number of units is definitely in the range anticipated for the site overall, but it's just the residential portion does have a larger footprint than what we had anticipated. We can certainly deviate from that, but we just want to make sure that that is something that we are comfortable with. Just because we did do that with Hope as well, and so we're basically saying that we're comfortable doing that with other mixed-use developments coming in as well.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
Natalie, you just said that how did you just say it? The number of
Units.
Units.
Yep, fall within the range. So basically, if we
falls in the range, but the footprint is too big for those number of units, so it,
not that it's too big. The footprint's larger than what we would have anticipated if we stayed true to that 50-50. With Hope, we deviated from that 50-50.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly by how much, but I know that it wasn't quite 50-50 either with Hope.
but the only way to do what you're saying would have been higher density apartment building, multi-level, all of that stuff.
Correct.
And this keeps it close
Keeps
to
it
the ground,
two-story.
so thank you. Nope,
Yep,
that's,
so we as a city can decide that this does still meet the intent,
Okay.
even though it's not quite that 50-50. We just
Thank
want to
you.
be conscientious of
Thanks.
that. Okay. This is just another, I like the pictures on this one provided, so this is another visual of the concept plan with some different examples of the product type, and they even had a couple of commercial examples too. And that's included in the packet.
Natalie, real quick, on those pictures, they look familiar to me. Are those other continental developments and such?
I believe so.
I've been to, I think, 2 of them in the metro area, and great thinking outside the box, folks. Just saying it straight up, so thank you.
So it was about a 30-page staff report, so I'm going to try to keep this really limited to I think it was about 5 focus questions that I had. One of them being the parks and trails that was brought up. So our 2040 comp plan does identify a planned off-road trail along the western portion of the site. An off-road trail is not currently shown in the concept. And when staff was evaluating this, knowing where the Diamond Lakes Regional Trails now plan to come, which would be through that business park parcel to the west, wondering if it does make sense for us to deviate from our comp plan as well to have this really be a part of the Diamond Lake Regional Trail with it going closer to Mulberry Lane. So that was something we'd like to get feedback on, because that will also help with the Parks and Trails Commission when they look at this as well in the future.
Natalie, and I'm sorry, I'm going to keep interrupting, but
No, that's fine.
that original trail was to go almost dead center through the Bellwether property before Bellwether was even brought in, so that has changed numerous times, so cool, our flexibility is there.
Yes, so these are fat line markers.
Yep.
So it is not unusual for us to, consolidate and take opportunities where they arise, but while keeping this framework in place. So the intent of the trail would still be accomplished by having it go further west. It's just that it would also take advantage of where we already have the Diamond Lake Regional Trail planned.
And working with Three Rivers Park Districts, it's important, like they do big, broad marker on where they like it, and for example,
I
what we
think
mentioned
the
earlier.
recent one, they said a mile either side of a certain line, a mile gives, so.
So there's a lot of variables that determine exactly where it is, as Natalie was talking about,
Yeah.
as development happens, but when it was mentioning the tunnel or the underpass on 116, that had to do with topography. And so all those things are taken into consideration in terms of why and where our trails land.
Yeah, so this will definitely, we don't need a final decision on it tonight, but it's just part of the overall exploration as to where this lands as the application moves forward. So then again, the primary discussion point is really our PUD flexibility areas weighed against the PUD public benefits proposed. So staff identified some of these, and then some of these were called out by the applicant. But basically looking at consolidating the GMU standards and the C2 standards for a single set of commercial standards. Some of the commercial properties would literally fall in both zoning districts otherwise, and so it would have conflicting setbacks and requirements. So looking at getting a single set of commercial standards, so when they are ready to move forward with the commercial side, we have a very clear framework to be able to evaluate those sites as they come in. Waive the requirement for first floor units in the GMU to have a raised entrance and a private courtyard. We did do that for Hope as well. And handle a conditional use permit for multiple multifamily buildings on a single lot. They have, if we go, I can go back to the slide just to explain what I'm talking about. So this one, well actually all of them will have at least 2 multifamily buildings on each lot, instead of having each building on a single lot. So that is allowed in our code with the CUP, but it would be cleaner to have that as part of the PUD approvals, if that's something that we would like to approve. Allow accessory structures in excess of 1,000 square feet footprint on each lot. So in the GMU, you can have it on one lot. You can have up to 1,000 square feet as the footprint for an accessory structure. You can have no more. So that would not work with their detached garages that they're proposing. Allow accessory structures in the front yard. If you look at the concept plan, there are definitely structures that would appear along, would be technically in the front yard where the street frontage is. There really isn't another place to locate them, just taking a quick look at it.
What kind of structures?
Oh, so there's a couple. So technically the clubhouse would be.
Oh, I see. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, so technically the clubhouse would be an accessory structure. And then there's these detached garages that technically would be in the front yard as well.
Gotcha.
And then up here as well, so.
Those up there in that corner, Natalie, that you just got to, those are structure facing, not in the backs to the Bellwether neighborhood and stuff, right?
Correct, yeah, so the garage doors would be facing
To the south, yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, one of the comments from the residents and stuff about all of the trees in that corner, there's no trees in that corner, it's all open space. The trees that are being talked about is the property on the Oswald.
I think most of the trees are actually on the business park
Right.
property to the west, that's
Further west.
provided for business
Okay.
park. However, we do require,
Yeah.
as things move before, we would require a tree survey, that's typically something that we require, so. we
Yep,
can
I'm just
confirm.
saying
Yeah,
that
looking at the map.
the comment
I don't
about,
think there's anything from the aerial view, correct.
the comment about tree preservation, those trees are on a whole different property. There's nothing really up in that corner and,
Correct. One of our city maps showed maybe just a little bit
Yeah.
on this property, but I don't think that boundary currently exists.
Yeah.
Either it's changed or our map wasn't quite spot on accurate. So that was something I called out, because according to our map, there should be a high quality community there, but there isn't. So at least from the aerial view, so we'd have to take a look at it.
in my experience back there, doing hunting and stuff 40 years ago, 35 years ago, the trees that used to be there were actually cleared by Bellwether, and there are those properties to the north now, off of my rough memory and such.
Yeah, it used to go up to Stieg, where Stieg still
Yep.
has the trees.
It used to be a whole forest through there, and many of them cleared, and now houses are there, so just, okay, cool, thanks.
One of the requests is to reduce on-site parking from the city code requirement of 647 stalls for the residential units down to 594 stalls. Additionally, counting parking stalls towards the on-site requirement when they're located in front of a one-car garage. Our code for some reason only allows that when it's a two-car garage. Reduce the requirement for 50% of required parking stalls to be in a structure, and move that requirement down to 17.3%. They're proposing 112 stalls that would be either in an attached or detached garage. And then clarify that the Northeast District Plan prevails where it conflicts with the GMU standards. Again, we did that with hope, just for clarity, for when staff reviews the final plans that come in. And then allow 2 freestanding signs for residential use within the general mixed use. Currently, we don't allow any freestanding signs. And again, we did allow that for hope as well. And then the PUD public benefits. So I tried to break this down a couple different ways. The staff report tries to do a more complete analysis of how each one fits, and then I summarized it in a table that kind of which ones were possible versus maybe not as likely, and then I'm going to group them together under what's accomplished, possible, etc. So what was truly seems to be 100% accomplished with what they are proposing would be creation of open space using multi-story buildings. They have a number of semi-private courtyards that are created by the orientation and placement of the buildings. They have internal trail connections throughout the residential development, and then they have open spaces connected with green natural corridors, and they are proposing to use native plants in their landscaping. What was possible with the concept plan, but either more information was needed or execution will ultimately be the final say. There was 9 public benefits that fell under this category, so that included things like placement of uses so as to integrate with adjacent uses, and that I think was done well with how it goes with Mama G's, and then how they've tried to have like a buffer between Bellwether and County Road 30 as best they could. Collaboration, there we go. Collaboration with adjoining landowners and appropriately located neighborhood scale commercial office uses, to name a few. There are a few more. Some of them too, I think it also could be how the council interprets it. So for example, does the council believe that these meet a higher architectural standard, or is this the standard that we think is good, but not necessarily higher? So that would be a point of discussion for anything that you don't agree with quite based on the staff report, or would like to see something more. Possible,
Sorry,
but go ahead.
Natalie, the open space that you were just talking about, is that upland open space or is that the wetland that you're referring to?
I'm talking about,
Courtyards that need to be able to be upland.
yeah, here, let's see here. Something's going on with my phone queue, I apologize. I'm gonna get to the screen and I'll try, or the,
It'll come in. Unplug it, put it back in, and see the screen.
but I really wasn't talking about the wetland at all.
Okay.
I'm talking about more along the so they have those courtyards connected by trails, and then really along the edges of the property, they've made it usable again with the private trails that they're proposing that connect really to those internal private courtyards. Let's see here.
If you can reconnect, I'd just like to have those
Yeah.
pointed out on the sketch. I'm not seeing those features, so I'm wondering if I'm just missing what you're talking about.
Okay. I would be happy to, so 1 second. I know. Really nice if you weren't red right now. Why are you so angry at me?
Our technology has been weird today.
Thank you guys for coming.
We've been talking
Yeah.
to our contractor
warm.
IT guy.
Yeah,
We've
stay
had blamed
warm.
on everything from the magnetic fields that are impacting the world right now, to the cold weather, to it's Microsoft's fault. So
Stop.
one of those three.
Can be
choose-
all
choose
three.
your own.
Stop making stuff up, it's all Kevin's fault.
So basically, the open space that I was, where did my laser pointer go? So these courtyards that have pathways would be some open space, and then they have, pretty much everything is connected.
See your mom.
We don't see your
We don't-
cursor
Yeah.
on the screen here.
That's helpful.
Right there. Jeremy, look. Ooh, that was a good blow up, and go back to that, I think that'll show
But
you.
it won't let me do the laser pointer when I do that.
Blow it back up quick.
So like between 7 and 9
Between
there?
7 and 9,
7,
all
9,
of
1 and
those
2,
walking
3 and
paths,
4.
those common areas are
And they
the
have,
upland
yeah,
courtyards.
This setback area, they have the path go through these side areas here, and there's, anyway, just so you can.
And then you were saying, to Jeremy's question too, those are all private.
These are private trails, yes.
How do they stay private when it's not a gated community?
Well, I would say that they are private trails and that they are privately maintained. They are not a city-owned trail. They are not
Okay.
city-maintained. So as far as how they want to handle security on their site, that would be up to them. But the reality is they would not be a city-owned trail. There's no city
Yep, okay.
responsibility to
And
maintain them.
then thus, the same as walking into Bellwether, those are public sidewalks, trails and stuff, and those are for use by the public, so, okay.
So I guess one question I would have, I'm trying to visualize what those look like in reality and based on the photos that you showed before. Is that going to be, sidewalk, trail, planted with ornamental trees, flowers, things like that? Or is this, a sidewalk in a grassy area?
Where are you talking about?
Those courtyards, like what is the design of that space?
Or is it too early to say when the concept?
I would say it's too early in my review of it, but they may certainly have ideas, and they have a presentation as well, so I think that would be an excellent question for them.
Thank you.
Oh, there is where does that go? A trail over here. So this is what they're showing in one of the master plan concept visuals, so I
Here we
think
go.
that, yeah.
So I'm imagining it's more like the one on the left, since that's actually built, or the one on the bottom left?
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
helpful, thank you.
Okay.
They probably won't have palm trees like that one had.
You can always hope.
We could for one season.
They would have exploded at 30 degrees. We're 20 below tonight, so.
So under possible, looked to be possible but not currently proposed, I have 3 possible benefits that were within our policy as a city. So that included a viable open space master plan, extensive internal landscaping, larger tree size. Their narrative and plans were silent on these, but it could be theoretically something that they look to include. And then a benefit that is not captured in our policy that staff called out was the potential to work with the Northwest Trails Association to identify and preserve a snowmobile corridor. Council should discuss whether or not that is desired, but just knowing the conversation that happened around that, if that is something that we see as valuable.
I would just
How
touch
could
on it.
that happen, based on the layout? I mean, I don't see any space for that from what we're seeing.
In conversation,
There would have to be some sort of change to the plan.
it would be in
Yeah,
a different,
yeah.
there's no way to go in there, and I think Northwest Trails has even got a plan if something were to happen to this property. They've already got stuff ready to go without impeding on.
Perfectly fine, I just knew that it went through this
Yeah.
property and we had to move it, and so I'm just wanted to call it out.
They've
Overhead
been,
bridges.
I would just encourage that if
they've
for
been
some,
extremely flexible over the 35, 40 years of this whole corner and stuff, and like they said at the last meeting, the actual snowmobile corridor went right up almost down Main Street Bellwether until Bellwether came in, and it's all been modified and changed, and it might even end up being one of those things where they end up having to do something along County Road 30, but again, they've got to work with the county and stuff on that, and that stuff, but, they have a beautiful location right now, and apologize for our late night visitors, but I'll put in a good word for a little extra attention at closing time,
Majority
so.
are wonderful.
Yeah, no, but
Majority are wonderful.
they don't want anybody hassling anybody, so they police themselves very well, but, knowing what I know about them, they will work to do everything they can to preserve a trail somehow, some way, but it doesn't look like it would be able to go between these two neighborhoods, Bellwether and this neighborhood.
I would
if
just
this
add-
neighborhood would come.
I would just add that if there's something that we're not seeing that they figure out, just to make sure that they're keeping in mind what the discussion we just had and the change we made to keep it further south from that property line with Bellwether in mind. So if they do find a way to keep a trail through there, that it's not moving it back to recreating that problem.
Oh, no, I definitely, that was not the thought process
Right,
behind
no,
it,
I'm just
yeah.
saying it so
It was
in
more,
case they
where
do
could we
figure
find a
something out,
corridor
just,
further
yeah.
south along the
I'm-
property?
I'm not opposed to it, like Dean, I think it'll be tough, but if they can find something that works that doesn't conflict with that, sure.
Yeah, their whole thing would be, obviously, they default to County Road 30 because it landlocks everything in the direction that they've gone, and like I said, they've flexed so much over the years to accommodate landowners and property and residents and stuff that, great group of men and women out there trying to preserve snowmobiling as one of our options in Corcoran, but things are gonna change in this corner, if they change, excuse me.
When density hits a certain tipping point, at some pace, it actually becomes unsafe for the
Yep.
drivers. So I experienced that in Shakopee as we had development going on the southwest side. And it was hard, but then recognizing, and we found other ways to accommodate potentially other spaces in other places in the city in order for them to enjoy that recreation in ways that were safer.
Yep.
Because
And
if
we-
it came along 30 with the present traffic that we have, super
The
dangerous.
610 connected, yeah, it's,
In the last 2 weeks, there's been 6 cars in the ditch on the north side of 30, so.
That you know of.
yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah, you got to
Go out there right now, there might be another one.
Quit pulling them out, leave them there.
Yeah, $100 is $100.
Yeah.
That's the inflation of the.
So yeah,
Nope,
Came back.
thinking about it?
maybe.
There we go.
I identified 5 of the benefits as unlikely, unlikely just because there maybe wasn't something like that on the site. So for example, natural resources and features are retained. This is not applicable to wetlands, this is defined as more tree communities, and there just really isn't any on here. Because it's been a farmed piece of property.
Yep.
And then natural restoration work, it's unclear how that would be able to be incorporated. Extraordinary environmental protection, while they did design consciously to preserve as many wetlands as possible. I don't think it's necessarily extraordinary. I don't think that they would be able to retain all of it and still have a site that would accomplish their goals. Areas of parkland, woodland, or other open space above minimum, and then innovation and utilization of new technologies. So it just did not seem applicable to what their proposal includes. And then just 6 identified benefits in our policy that simply would not apply just because of the type of development it is. It's a mixed-use development, so some of the benefits that we've identified more for single-family housing, it just simply wouldn't apply here. So for the discussion points, as a recap, looking for feedback on the trail alignment. I did get some of that, but if anyone else has anything to add. Does the current proposal satisfy the intent of the mixed-use designation and the city's overall development goals? Whether the this is kind of a smaller one that kind of got hidden in here. Their ground floor is supposed to be distinguished with an architectural feature. Awnings can be used, and they do have some awnings on the first floor, but they're intermittent. Does that work for us? Do we want to see more of a continuous awning or something else to really distinguish that first floor? Whether council is open to approving the use of fiber cement board as proposed. That's a material that we allow in the Northeast District with a certain thickness. I believe it's a 1/4 inch thickness. But you also have, there's a little bit of a caveat that the council is able to approve that.
Have we done so elsewhere?
We haven't done so elsewhere, but we haven't really received.
Haven't had the request.
Yeah, we haven't really had the request yet. Any desired discretionary standards not covered to promote the general health, safety, and welfare. And then, yeah, just an overall proposed PUD flexibility is weighed against the benefits.
Sounds good.
And then for next steps, the applicant, we will be working with them to finalize the feasibility study, A neighborhood meeting is February 5th before the Planning Commission meeting here at City Hall, 5:30 to 6:30. That is a developer-run meeting. While staff may be present, we are not running that meeting. And then application for preliminary plat, preliminary PUD plan in rezoning before application for a final plat and final PUD plan. Recommendation tonight is for council to review and discuss the concept plan, provide the applicant with any informal comments. This would be non-binding feedback, and then the applicant also has prepared a presentation as well that they would like to share with you.
Perfect. Do you want to go back to that list quick of discussion topics if you're still connected? As you guys, if you want to get ready, right, do you have a presentation you wanted to do? Perfect. I just had a couple quick things on there
Sure.
before you guys go. Did you get so you said you got the feedback you needed on the initial trail stuff?
Unless there's anyone else, I think what I'm hearing, actually, you know what, maybe I do want to go over that.
I was a little confused by what the ask was.
So basically, are we okay with it shifting west? Right now,
With it being Diamond Lake Trail?
yes,
Okay.
basically the leg of the trail that's currently shown in our comp plan
Yep.
that would have to run through this site, which they are not currently showing. Are we okay with that altogether, just moving to the property west to connect to the Diamond Lake Regional Trail?
Can I
So that's
clarify something?
Mhm.
So I thought the Diamond Lake Regional Trail came about after the park plan laid out the internal trail network for the city. So it seems like the choice is really, do we want to forego that trail? Because Diamond Lake will go nearby instead.
So the Diamond Lake Regional Trail is going to be, it's gonna move
Has to move west
from
in
the
order to
west
cross
to the Hope, yeah.
116.
So this would be a north-south leg to connect to that trail. So it would be a city trail that connects to that, into that leg of the Diamond Lake Regional Trail. So I think we wouldn't necessarily be foregoing, but we would be looking to have that placed when the business park property comes into the west.
See where that is?
Yeah, I'd like that too, actually.
Potentially, let's see here.
And that's essentially going up the whole property underneath the very west side of the Oswald to the south side of the Hunters Ridge neighborhood, and then cut up right where you just had the pointer right there. Is that
Roughly where the
direction?
farmhouse
Yeah,
is
so
right
that's
now.
where the Diamond Lake Regional Trail would be. So what we would be talking about is a north-south leg that the city would own that would connect into that Diamond.
And instead of having it on this, kicking it over to the left.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of struggle with it because when I look at this curvy road going through this development, if that's picturesque, that might be a lot better experience for a trail user than something that's going to cut through a business park, depending on how the business park ends up defining their landscaping requirements.
Well, even so, that business park, if we could ask to do some type of preservation where the pointer is right now, in and up through those trees, that would be a better experience than walking along a road, in my mind.
It would be.
I think,
But
yeah, I agree with the trees and
It's a
also
whole-
the way
It's a whole
that,
different conversation, it's not what we're talking about.
Right.
Other than a general location.
right, I agree with that, what you said on the trees, Dean, and also where that would potentially go on that western site might break it up a little bit to give that business park a little bit of spacing from residential on this site, and potentially to Bellwether to the northeast there.
So if you're seeing like the east side of that tree stand, is that what you're visualizing?
No, I think the trail, okay, well, potentially, because I think the trail's right here too.
That's Linda's house, that 6 foot to her house right there that you were just pointing at.
So, I don't have a clear alignment
Yeah.
other than generally having it connect to this regional trail and having it really be the north-south alignment actually happening on this
Your
property.
question is move that trail to the west,
Yeah.
and the rest of the conversation is null and void because that's not in front of us tonight. A concept plan for the east
Yeah.
side is.
Yeah,
in front
the
of us.
final alignment would come in as we understand the site that we're working with
Yep.
more. It's more of, do we see value in adding an off-road trail? I don't know where we would fit in an off-road trail on the site with what's currently proposed. I think it would end up being an on-road trail.
Next to the main
And
public
then where is
roads.
it connecting to? Like what
Yep.
exactly is
Yeah.
it connecting to?
I think it'd be good to try to ensure that we have an option here. A very attractive on-road trail might end up being a better choice later on when we see what the business park is gonna do.
Along the,
Along this here.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, maybe
So leave room
feedback to the
for it,
applicants to
landscape
consider.
for it, so that if that ends up being an on-road trail that we're foregoing an off-road trail for, it's still appealing.
It might lend itself really well depending on the traffic patterns, so
Yeah.
not heavy density going through that, so if you put sharrows, you know what I'm talking about? It's a better experience, and people are gonna do that anyways, particularly if there's an opportunity to get towards the commercial district,
Yeah.
if there's something attractive there for them. And they've already designed spaces that the pedestrian
Yeah.
traffic's gonna be moving a lot through the space anyways.
Well, and just keep in mind, we will have sidewalks on these
Right.
too.
Yep,
so it's not that
sidewalks
there
are
won't be
already
any Connectivity for pedestrians, but, whether it's a trail, I think is a different question.
But those are 5 feet instead of 10, so.
So if we move the trail to the west, would that change the location of the trail that connects to Bellwether?
No, this would be to maximize what has already been planned through Bellwether.
Where it connects in Bellwether right now is on the northeast corner of the Oswald property.
Okay,
And it still has to pass through the Oswald property in order to even connect to the Hebert property.
I was looking at the one property where the trail is so close to the resident's house. That's the one I was talking about.
That's adjacent to the Oswald property.
Yeah.
Right up the corner. Right through
So that trail wouldn't move even if we moved the trail more to the west?
No, that's already been
That's built.
dedicated, and that's the Three Rivers Trail now.
Okay.
Just how much traffic is gonna be there.
paid for.
Would it be beneficial to look at moving that if there is going to be a lot of traffic there?
I don't know that it's an
It's not
us
really,
decision that
they
There's
paid
no way.
for it. So they wouldn't pay for it again.
Mm-hmm.
they being Bellwether,
No, they being
No, they being the
Three
Three Rivers
Rivers.
Park District.
Yeah.
paid for that trail
Yeah.
right there, okay. That's not us
No.
Anymore.
anymore.
Okay, so then as far as, I think you had the floor, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, that was the main one. Is there other specific things you were looking for feedback for before the applicants go? That
We
we
can
can cover?
certainly wait until after.
Okay. Sure, if the applicants would like to come on up.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council, staff, Greg Hayes with Ebert Companies here, representing Ebert Companies and the property owners, Greg Ebert and Debbie McCormick, and excited to be shouldering this through and partnering with Continental to come up with an overall cohesive plan for the project. Yes, that slide image with the images around the building, around the land, creates some good ideas, and we're working with a market study to shore that up and come up with what could really go there and how long do we think it would take to get absorbed. But I'll come back later and talk about how we kind of proofed up that site, but I wanted to talk about and introduce the people from Continental here, Stephen, Sarah, and Connor, to talk about and present their presentation, and then I'll get a chance to come back and talk about the commercial portion and answer any questions.
Perfect. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, staff. Thank you so much for having us tonight. My name is Sarah Johnson. I'm here with Continental Properties along with my colleagues Connor and Stephen. I don't know, first in my brain, do you need our business address for the record? I'm happy to rattle through it. But we're headquartered in Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. And we have been privately held, owned, and operated since 1979. Got our start early on with mainly retail development. We are located in the same suburb as Kohl's Department Stores headquarters, so we've done a lot of retail work throughout the country and within the state of Minnesota, hospitality work as well. But what we're here tonight to talk with you about is our multifamily rental housing. I have a few slides I'll take you through, because Natalie, thank you so much for the comprehensive staff report. I don't want to reiterate, but I'm happy to dig into details with any questions that you have either along the way or if you want to call me up afterwards. But if you can click ahead 2 slides. Just as a brief reminder, again, something unique to us and maybe that sets us apart from some of the other developers of multifamily communities is we do own and operate those under the Continental arm. So all of our communities, our rental communities, are staffed with Continental employees. So we are very vested long-term in the success and the partnership that we have with the communities that we serve. Our portfolio, just to share with you some high notes overall, we currently have 99 communities within our portfolio. Those are either stabilized communities in lease-up or under construction, totaling close to 27,000 homes. Within the state of Minnesota, we have 9 communities that are managed and owned by Continental. Just a little over 2,200 homes that we operate within the metro area. Timeline, just to reiterate briefly what Natalie shared earlier. So we initially came before council back in late 2022 with our concept plan discussion. We've been working closely with Ebert along the way. Came back most recently in April of last year to present. And the feedback, though I think it was generally promising in nature for a proposal, was really to take a step back, evaluate the market conditions, understand what this project could look like and the site could look like holistically. So even though we are here tonight to present and obtain feedback on the multifamily residential portion, we've also worked closely with Ebert and we've been doing homework and working with research groups to understand what that commercial looks like as well and how the two uses can be very complementary in nature. Next slide, please. So again, just reiterating from that last session that we had in April, we worked with Maxfield Research and Consulting to evaluate market studies to further reiterate from their standpoint that additional housing, more rooftops are going to drive that future commercial growth, setting the framework for commercial development in the future. Just a few notes from our end. We have a really strong market research internal to our company that helps guide where we're looking to construct new communities. And this metro area, specifically this submarket, is performing really well. And when we look at occupancy numbers in rental housing communities, usually we take it as a very good sign of the need for housing when we get above about 94% occupancy. Right now we're seeing high 95 percentages, almost 96% occupancy, which is saying it's time where the additional housing is needed in the area. Within the 3-mile radius of the site, we're seeing a 1.8% annual population growth projected. Expanding just a bit further nearby into the west, you see over 3% population growth in the numbers through the census data. And now I will get into a little bit of the detail about overall project plan, and then we'll kind of zoom into the micro on the springs at Corcoran. So again, I don't mean to reiterate too much of what Natalie already presented, but just sharing with you the existing conditions and what we've been navigating in different iterations over the years, what we've been evaluating for highest and best use of the site and being able to navigate around those natural features. The existing wetlands on the site are really driving limitations in multiple areas on where we can program the best use of the site. As Natalie shared when we were looking at previous versions, the wetlands on that northern end of the property were really bifurcating the property such that we weren't comfortable in our ability to manage it as a contiguous community. If you want to go to the next, again, just taking a look at that comprehensive plan, visual if we need it, but I think we can go past this one. Natalie did a great job presenting there. So the overall concept plan, not just for the springs at Corcoran, but overall and looking with Ebert, we wanted to reflect that we've got the multifamily residential programs while also respecting the vision and the long-term infrastructure planning at the city and programming the rights-of-way that are bifurcating our community east-west as well as on the eastern side of the multifamily community, that northwest connection as well, and also reflective of preliminary layouts of the infrastructure that would occur within that commercial development on the eastern side. We put together some visuals just because, again, Ebert is evaluating this in a very thoughtful way, looking at the market research, understanding what the drivers are, what type of commercial activities would be most successful here. So we did want to just put together a vision board with some imagery and the types of commercial development that could occur here in the future. As far as our concept plan, we have some imagery on the east side of the slide. Natalie also shared some images, but just to reiterate what we have, the property as a whole for the residential portion, we're proposing 294 homes. It is within 14 residential buildings, all two-story in nature. I know Natalie shared that they were going to be a combination of private and semi-private. I want to clarify that was a two-story product that we construct. They're all private entry. So the second you walk in that front door, you are in your private residential home. There's no shared corridors or shared common area space within the structures themselves. All two-story in nature. We know some of our neighbors that would be just to the north asked about the bedroom ratios and the bedroom types. So the way the buildings are programmed, those side elevations of the structures themselves that would be facing closest to your home, there would only be 4 homes that would access from that northern side. 2 homes on the first floor and then 2 homes that are generally the same above in a stacked design on the second floor. The mixture of homes, again, we've got studio through 3 bedroom. The studio percentage overall is about 14% of the overall bedroom count. We've got 38% of the homes that are 1 bedroom, 38% 2 bedroom, 10% 3 bedroom. So we do have a wide range. Our most popular offerings, though, are those 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom, which are equally distributed throughout the site. We do have some visuals here. Now these are more so the programming that we would do on a larger scale for the overall development. I know Mr. Nichols asked about the sidewalk system and what that would look like. We do have landscape plans that we program around each building, so to show some of the ornamental trees and the shrubbery that would be around private first floor patio areas to provide that semi-private feel. We program ornamental trees and different types of trees along those courtyard views, and we'd be happy to, and I'm making note for a future presentation, we'll get some more imagery of what those courtyards look like, just to be a little more helpful to understand what that final built product would look like. I did take notes from Ms. Kim, Ms. Linda, and Ms. Deb about the specific questions you asked. Please understand we are very conceptual in nature yet, so this is step 1. I know Natalie shared some information about the neighborhood meeting. We wanted to host this session tonight to get any feedback from council members and staff, but we have the invitations teed up, and I believe planning on getting them out the door tomorrow. We just wanted to make sure that before we got too heavy in sending out the invites, that if there were any larger comments we needed to address, we didn't want to be too premature in sending those out. But we look forward to having follow-up conversations so we can make sure that we're good partners with you. I did a quick measurement based on my printed plan, which is not going to be the best scale, but the 8-bay garage on the north end is a little over 60 feet from that northern property line. We can definitely navigate that in a little more detail, and we can get a computer up and running and talk through that with you a bit more. On the next slide, we just have some notes on PUD benefit. Again, I think Natalie did a great job going through this. A couple notes I took from Natalie's slide that I wanted to make sure we could address. Something with the PUD benefit was talking about first floor raised entries. And I just want to clarify the way our buildings are designed are, from an accessibility standpoint, all of those first floor homes need to be adaptable. So we have to provide accessibility measures into those first floor homes, which is prohibitive of us having like staired entries like you would see in a traditional townhome design. So there is reason behind those grade level entries into our first floor homes within the community. The parking calculation that we had was a little over 2 parking stalls per home. Traditionally and portfolio-wide, we look at right around 1.75 stalls per home that seems to work for our community. Obviously, when we're in cold climates, we have to be considerate of snow storage and going a little bit above that ratio to provide for adequate snow storage and losing a few stalls in winter months
Is that with the number, I forget the exact number, Natalie?
Requested adjusted.
594.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I'm sorry, I was going back like it was my presentation. Yes, it was, I think it's like 647 units, or parking stalls that we would require per code. I think they're proposing something like 594.
And that 590 something is that's your
647.
just under 2 per home,
Just
Good
over
memory.
or just over 2 per home?
Yeah.
Okay, got it, thank you.
And that does not include any of the parallel stalls that we were reflecting or anticipating along one side of the right-of-way that would be bifurcating the site. And what I would just want to draw attention to, though, I would appreciate and understand that public may come and park, especially given the sidewalk system that we would have on those roads, but I would envision that some of those stalls may also, I don't know from a code perspective if we're able to count any of those, but there's a significant amount of.
Correct, yeah, I think I called out on my staff report simply that we don't allow that to count towards the on-site requirement for parking, simply because we don't allow overnight parking during the winter months. So that's why we don't allow it for the on-site component. However, we do have ways where we do have mechanisms in our code that allows for reduced parking when we have data that supports that the parking as required by code is not needed. So I think it's something we could handle as part of the PUD, since you do have operating data.
Yeah, we've got data across our portfolio, so I'd be happy to share kind of portfolio-wide, and then we could show that sliver of what the Minnesota market looks like in the communities and the parking offerings specific to this state, to show you that they are pretty similar in nature, though I would say in Minnesota we are flexing a bit above our standards, given cold climate and snow storage. The only other clarification I wanted to make sure we could call out while we're all here is, I know you threw a number out for the percentage for covered parking.
Yes, I had 112 stalls. I think it came out to 17.3%. I'm going off the top of my head though.
I just wanted to clarify that the 112 stalls is specifically the attached garages to the residential structures. We also have a handful of detached garages that are scattered throughout the site. So when you include those, and let me just make sure I'm doing the math correct, 44, 45 additional detached garages.
Okay.
Included on top of that. So I do think we are just a little over 20 or close to 21% overall for covered parking. I just wanted to make sure that we could clarify that point for you all. Well, the next slide is just, again, reframing those next steps that we have as far as our schedule and what we envision for next steps in the public process. We are completing a feasibility study this month, planning on getting into PUD submittal in the upcoming few months, but that immediate next step would be the neighborhood meetings. We could gather public comment as well and help that to inform our submittal package, help inform the design, and make sure that we can be good partners to the residents living adjacent. We would anticipate being into final design and engineering in the summer/fall of this year. Would love it if I could say we would break ground in fall before the cold climate hit again, but realistically, just taking a look at the process, we would envision the spring of 2027 construction start. In summary, and the way that Natalie had framed the end of her presentation, we're really here tonight to hear from you all, because before we make that next formal submittal, we want to gather feedback from our neighborhood group, neighborhood residents, as well as feedback that you have, positive, negative, indifferent, to help guide the design, to understand if there are concerns that you have after taking a look at the plan that we can finesse and fine tune. So we put a few questions on here just to help kickstart the conversation, but I am aware that a few folks have visited and went on tours of other Springs communities in the area, so we are just curious if there's any feedback that you could share with us from visiting those communities, or insights that you had to share that could help inform our next steps. Thoughts just overall on the housing opportunity that we're presenting to you tonight. Any other information that would be helpful for us to share with you at this point as we anticipate those next steps and the variances Natalie shared and listed off in the staff report as part of our PUD submittal. Understanding that the housing that we would be constructing constructing as part of like a phase one of this overall tract would help reinforce the need or the demand for that future commercial, but understanding that they are segmented and we are presenting on behalf of the multifamily residential portion. Beaver is being thoughtful about what that commercial will look like, but they are going to be operating slightly autonomously, but informed by one another. And then just generally, if there's any
Mine does
concerns
that
that you'll have that you'd be willing to share with us, so we can make sure we're doing the right thing with our next meeting. With that, we've got some photos at the tail end if you want to spin through them. It's just some imagery from our clubhouse, the interiors of our homes. A look at our spring clubhouse, some of the interiors of the homes themselves. But happy to answer any questions that you have for us.
I do have a quick question on, I've been out to one of the sites that McKnight.
Yeah, we just stopped by there this afternoon.
Okay, nice. I was very impressed with that site. The material that you guys are requesting, the fiber cement
Fiber cement board.
board, is that what you've used at that
Yep.
site? Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
traditionally our site communities, we install hardy board.
Gotcha.
Fiber cement, so cementitious material, but very durable, withstands extreme temperatures, holds up really well from a maintenance perspective, and it comes in a multitude of different applications. So we traditionally use a lap siding application, board and batten application, flat panel, to help differentiate
Yep.
through complementary colors and material placement within the buildings themselves.
Gotcha, thank you. Yeah, I was very impressed with that site. That's the only one I've been to, but I like it.
Mr. Mayor, public safety, obviously, we are proud of what we do here in the Corcoran and such. Your screening process for people about to rent it, the ranges of rental prices, if it's too early for those kind of things, but how do you screen your applicants to move into these places? And what, probably too hard, what usually shows up? Professionals, nursing,
You wouldn't be allowed in,
local,
Dean.
municipal, what's that?
You wouldn't be allowed in, Dean.
I wouldn't be allowed in, yeah.
No Santas.
I've got my 14 acres.
I don't know
The
if
donkeys
I'm
couldn't come and the horses couldn't come, but you know what I'm asking.
Yeah.
What screening processes do you do, and obviously to ensure maximum rental abilities and stuff?
Yeah.
Obviously, you're taking care of your own neighborhood, and if somebody is out of line once, twice, 3 times, are they out? I mean, those kind of things, that's the stuff I'm looking for, again, to keep our community as safe as it's been.
Sure. Our operations staff does a really great job of pre-screening our residents. It's a multi-pronged effort, so it's not just a check one box and you're good to go, but they're looking at housing where their previous housing was for the past number of years, if they were good on payments appropriately, any bad check writing that comes up as flags. They're looking at felonies and past
Yeah.
reporting that would show up. The requirement for rent is that you would make a minimum of 3 times your monthly rent to be able to qualify for that home. I can share with you where we are right now. These are projections. We have to put the projections in place to make sure it's a financially viable opportunity for us. But I can share with you where we were currently projecting our rents. I hope I have it in this split. You know what, I think I have it in another pamphlet, but I can tell you off the top of my head. I believe our studio, like the starting rent is in the high 1300s up to over 2,600, 2,700 for the highest. I don't want anyone to have sticker shock. Those highest homes also include like a 2-car
Yep.
and garage attached to it as part of that rent. So there's a wide range, and within the different bedroom types, we have different versions of the bedroom. So we have 2 different designs for our 1-bedroom homes. We have 2 different designs for our 2-bedroom homes that could appeal to different demographics, different sizes based on their preferences. As far as the types of jobs or the backgrounds professionally that they have, I would assume that the majority would be white collar in nature, just given the demographics of when Brett was here, before he threw that term out as well, but these aren't folks that are renting because of a need. I'm sure some of them.
They choose
but
to rent.
it's typically, they're choosing to rent. They're choosing to rent because they like the flexibility of being able to leave their house and know that they've got an operations staff that's looking after it. They appreciate the fact that they don't have to mow their 1 acre piece of property that they own anymore. They have someone else doing that. So we do see a lot of renters by choice within our community.
Is there any provisions, and I'm being a little bit selfish, for our employees in our
I was
own
gonna ask
town,
that, so.
for professionals such as police officers?
We talked about potentially different,
Not looking for discounts, but just municipal employees that live a long ways away, Chaska, Chanhassen, that can move to our town.
I think in the brief discussions we had
Anyhow.
previously, it was potentially list priority or potential rate, different rates or something
I don't know
of
all
that
the
nature.
tricks their operations staff has up their sleeve, but they traditionally, when we're in pre-leasing and working with the communities, they're reaching out to larger employees in the area to
Okay.
see if there's opportunities to form an agreement
Got
of
it.
some sort. They are a bit unique community to community, but our operations staff does do a really great job, and yeah, I'll obviously take a note down to
Perfect.
make sure that.
I'm asking the question because I heard what you do in the other places that you've got, and it's admirable to keep things orderly.
And perhaps
straight,
Ebert
neat,
Construction,
and-
it's another big employer in
And
town. Maybe
people
they'd
that are
be interested
occupying
too.
it, proud of where they live
Yeah, we
and
could
such,
pre-lease
so.
the Uber, get it already, a third of the way full, no problem, that sounds like a great.
And then the other thing I was hoping you would do is include the 3 neighbors across the street on County Road 30 in your invite, please. There's one in the back row. You'd probably prefer the one on the right than the one on the left, but include them in there. And then there's 2 more properties to the west, not abutting your property, but close enough. And is that the neighborhood you're looking at? The last time we had an event, we had a significant amount of participation of the folks across the street from Maple Grove in 101. Are there plans to include them, or are they not close enough to be neighbors?
I think the mailing address list we got from Natalie was just a certain parameter.
It's just
I almost think that would come in on the commercial
It's a
side more.
perfect spot,
Basically, everyone that is gonna get a public hearing notice. was on
100,
the list,
or how many feet?
350 feet.
Got it, cool.
So
Do you
I
feel like that would cover?
I
Yeah.
do think that includes some of the Maple Grove side.
Nope.
just
Oh,
because,
That doesn't
the
even
whole
get
site.
there.
Yeah, because it's the whole site, not
It's the
just the,
whole
yeah,
site that it goes
okay.
off of, so
Yeah.
I do think it would include.
Even the commercial?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did include.
Well, then it would be the people across the
Yep.
street.
The
Okay.
invite does include the overall traffic.
Not that I don't like Maple Grove folks, it's just, it's a Corcoran deal. Anyhow,
Michelle?
that's
So,
what I feel. I'll be quiet now.
you good?
Stop looking at me, just because you don't speak first.
I'd like to ask Attorney Thames a quick question about offering discounts for properties to, for example, city staff. I'm just wondering if that would fall under a statute or something regarding gifts. If you're receiving a discount because you're a staff person for a property, would that fall under that donations category?
I wasn't looking for donations or discounts, I was looking for availability, those kind of things.
Okay,
Yeah, there was
She
different ways. it was
answered that with
proposed as a
looking at
potential
local
thing.
employers and stuff.
yeah,
I wasn't expecting any discount on anybody's
Okay.
part, so if that helps, John,
thank you. That helps me too.
that
Can I
shuts
ask
him
a
up. We don't have
follow-on
to pay
to
him
that?
for that answer then.
When I talk about that, like, as I think was characterized, if you offer it like broader, so like you'd mentioned local employers, it's mutually beneficial in terms of symbiotic relationships, so that then you get people in the community that are working in the community.
Yep.
And so not exclusively where it would be a gift, if it was exclusively to, so for example, if they provided a discount to first responders and veterans, which a lot of businesses do.
It's very different than if they offered it to Counselor Friedrich and Mayor McKee, which then it would get into the category of
So I am
Right.
out. Is that what you're saying? I am out.
No, my only thought was that it seems like if the general population isn't going to receive that type of discount, that to me, as a city person, I wouldn't feel like if that were something that we had to vote on, I would probably vote nay, because I
Okay.
feel like that's just something that shouldn't be available to us when it's not available to the general population. And maybe it would be, because there could be some people that are living in the community that are taking advantage of being in a bigger business,
Gotcha.
but
Yeah, it
I'm
depends
just
how
sharing
it'd
my
be
thoughts.
structured, I think. Okay. Anyone else?
I did a couple other things. Great to preserve the wetlands. It'd be neat to see and connect with the DNR if you have time about what they can do to enhance those wetlands instead of just leave them there. I think that's one of the ways Jeremy's would probably go. I don't know if I'd expand the sidewalk to a trail. A sidewalk is nice enough. If you could get many of our citizens that walk in the road instead of the sidewalk, if they could get them in the sidewalk, that'd be appreciated.
That's upset you for years, Dean.
Oh, I get so mad about people walking down the road and there's a sidewalk sitting right there.
Happens all the time on 19.
I know. It just drives me nuts. It's a neat concept. I appreciate the fact that this is the third concept presentation. You've given us one next to Mama G's, one to this side, and we asked you to look at doing it more east-west, and I understand the breakup of the wetlands and stuff. Thank you for coming back and giving us another shot at the west side. I think that boundary to the north is a decent setback. I think you said 60 feet from those houses on the north side to the property line? Is that what you said?
From where our shared property line would be to where that detached garage.
60 feet off the property line.
Yeah.
Yep. Again, not something that I think is gonna even come close to enough space for the snowmobile trail to go back to. I think Northwest Trails will have a contingency plan, one more year of whatever they're doing, but get with Northwest Trails and give them a heads up if this goes through. Yeah, I thought I recognized him, but if I'm speaking poorly of you, let me know, but I know all y'all, and you are the president, if I remember right.
But you're on it.
There you go, that's the one. God, I get you two confused. I wanted to stop the other day. Anyhow, the concerns the neighbors had, thank you for participating, and it sounds like you got a pretty good chance at a pretty good neighbor going forward. But again, this is just concept plan. We're a step away, so.
Oh, I appreciate it. I think it's a very good start. There's one item, Natalie, I think in your presentation about the buffer yard discussion, with the wetland on the north side there.
Yeah.
My initial thoughts on it would be that it maybe could satisfy some of that buffer, and maybe even a fair portion of it, but I would probably, in the PUD, like to see some sort of mix, so let's simplify it, say it's a 10-foot buffer, and 5 feet of that's wetland, 5 feet of it gets credited to the wetland, 5 feet of it needs to be planted or fenced or burned, whatever, by the buffer standard. Does that make sense?
I don't know if I remember what you're talking about. So the buffer, one of the buffers.
It's on page 10 of your staff.
Okay, page 10. Okay, yep, so they need to do a buffer yard class B.
Yep. I thought there was a question about a wetland, if it should count, be credited.
Oh, yes, should the wetland count? Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Yep, should the wetland count towards it? We typically, especially wetlands of that size, we typically do let it count towards the
Okay.
buffer, but what were you saying?
I was saying maybe that it should count as some partial credit, but I'd still maybe like to see some of the buffering, so whether it's 75% credit or whatever, then that last smaller area have planted or burned or fenced, whatever they were planning on.
Oh, yeah, where there isn't a wetland, we would still require the buffer.
Okay,
Yep,
gotcha.
yes. It's just so basically, we're not gonna be able to really plant a buffer yard within the wetland.
Right.
So, yeah, but,
Yep.
we would still want to see that buffer yard on the other, we can definitely
Better wrap
make
it.
that happen,
Okay,
yes.
good deal. That's all.
Can I ask her a quick question or no?
Probably best for the, either after the meeting or at the other meeting coming up. Sorry.
It's all right.
Okay, can I?
Michelle and Jeremy.
Okay. I was just going to say, I love this concept plan, and I agree with Councilor Van Camp that it's wonderful that you really worked with the city and brought back the different concept plans for us to review, and this is probably my favorite one, for sure. I love the buffering between, like, where the potential commercial is. That's a nice buffer between where Mama G's is, especially with all the yelling and screaming and lots of fun that happens there at the volleyball season. And I love the architecture of the buildings. I think they're beautiful. I think they are in line with our Bellwether neighborhood. And I like the fiberboard aspect too, on the outside.
Jeremy?
It's hard for me to weigh the application, not because I think that it's an unappealing proposal on the residential side. Where I struggle is the 50-50 commercial versus residential expectation for the zone. And in order for me to be able to make a decision as to whether a PUD would make sense for us to accept as a city, I want to see more on the economic data side. What is the per acre value that we would be giving up by allowing less than 50% of this to be residential?
From a taxation standpoint?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're very light on commercial development in the city. We continue to struggle with our budgetary needs every year, largely we think because of the way that we're so heavily skewed toward residential. Most of that skew is single-family residential today. We don't have multifamily. You know, I can try to Google it and try to figure out, like, what is the typical expectation of a property like this. I can look at other ones around the area. Looking at that versus what the commercial prospect could be, that's how I'd want to make that calculation. I just don't have that data to make that decision.
And we can provide, and we do work with different consultants as well as working with the county assessor to understand what the projected taxes would be. We build that into our underwriting model, so we've got a good visibility into what we would be projecting. And we could look at, like, commercial development in the area to give you kind of that acre to acre or in this space if commercial.
That would be wonderful.
Okay. And then, John, a question for you, and maybe this is something that needs to be figured out over time. How would a agreement to keep that other half of the site commercial be? What form would that take? Would that be part of the PUD? Would that be something else?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, Council. I think you're going to accomplish most of that through your development agreement.
Okay.
And that's going to be consolidated with the single entity, which is recommended in the memo. And the reason for that is it's going to carry forward as an encumbrance on anybody that buys the other portion of that. Should it not be the same developer, there's going to be what's contemplated. Things change over time. So whoever takes that on would take that on knowing that that's the obligation of the site.
Gotcha.
Right.
Perfect. Thank you.
I think there was a question about, would we accept the wetland as buffer as is? I was going to suggest, and I think Dean anticipated my comment, to the degree that we can improve the quality of the wetland, maybe plant willow trees or something like that to create more of a visual barrier.
It's gonna
If that's
screw up
allowed.
the sidewalk.
Well, plant it down low, away from.
Really gonna mess up the trails as well.
Not that kind of willow.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
But I think to the degree that we can improve the quality of the buffer in the wetland, I think that would be that would be a potential PUD benefit as part of your plan.
Sure. All right. Anything else? Greg, did you want to come up? Did you have anything else? If not, no worries. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Okay.
To your comment, Mr. Nichols, we're currently doing a market study of how much could be absorbed on this entire parcel, commercial-wise, not just the east end. So that will come out, and we'll share that with you, and what's the potential viability of how much commercial could be supported in a 5-year build-out or a 10-year build-out, or what's realistic. So I
Sounds good.
What's the timeline on that, Greg?
We hope to have that completed and receive it back. I just received earlier today a partial draft of it, and hopefully have it in the next week.
Oh,
Oh, that's great.
fantastic.
By the open house, for sure.
Fantastic. That'd be great.
Any other questions?
Very good. Okay. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out. Thanks for coming.
Thank
No
you guys.
worries.
Thank you.
Stay warm.
You start my truck when you go up there?
Yeah. Mine too, please.
My
It's
car
only
too.
16 below right now on the front.
Give everyone a minute to clear out here.
Is that really what it
City
is?
Hall. I don't
I'm
know,
gonna turn on my heater.
is the internet live?
Mine says 17,
You don't have it plugged in, do you?
but it feels like 43.
It's beautiful, did you
There you
say?
go, 17 below,
Oh
just
my
dropped
gosh,
a
it's
degree.
changed.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, if you could survive in this stuff, it's about as rough as it is anywhere.
We're long past your guys' stuff.
Hey, you guys got
Starting my truck from my phone.
smart, actually. What else do we have? Closed session, reports, I'm gonna
Oh, this is
start
a
mine.
date night. I'm on to you now.
There's other places I'd rather be on a
No
date.
kidding.
Got asked if we needed to run back to the shop, and we're like, we're still at the city council meeting, I'm avoiding all this stuff. I needed a break.
Thanks for sticking around.
We'll filibuster for you.
We can get a couple bottles of water for you. You can go to the atrium and sit by a nice tree. Yeah, exactly.
I'm starting my car too. All right, we're on a 30-minute timer because that's how long my car warms up for. With that, City Council will be entering into a closed session pursuant to the authority granted under Minnesota Statute 13D.03, Subdivision 1, to discuss labor negotiation strategy related to the contract with LELS Local Number 615. Strategy related to the contract with LELS Local 615. The council is prepared to take action to approve a memorandum of agreement related to that contract. I will entertain a motion to approve and authorize the mayor and city administrator to execute the MOA dated 1/21/26, subject to minor revisions by staff and the city attorney and our labor attorney.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That passes. And with that, any staff reports?
Just a reminder, Mayor and Council, that next Tuesday we'll have our first open session here in the council chambers, an open house regarding the civic campus. So
Perfect, that's
the
7.
BKV will leading that from 6.
When is that again?
6 to
Next
7.
Tuesday.
6 to 7:30. Let me double
I
check.
think that's what it is.
Is
It's
there,
6 to 7:30.
6 to 7:30.
It's in the newsletter.
Perfect.
Mr. Mayor, real quick, Jade, is there a
Mailbox today.
talking point summary that we could have related to general questions?
At this point, no. We're working towards it, but I've run into a time crunch just in reality.
I understand.
Yeah.
Then
For what?
a couple of them, how are we gonna find, how is you, the city council that's requesting this city municipal new building, how are you going to pay for it? That's all.
So we're not there yet. That's
But
the answer.
that
This
will
is
get
the first
explained.
step of the conversation.
Cool.
So there'll be boards here that talk about how we got here, trying to get some of that. But as far as the financing part of it, we don't even know what we're financing yet. So we have to identify what we have. What we do know is that for the last 10 years in the long-term financial plan, we have had $50 million bond projected as that need. And also, we're currently pursuing the potential of state bonding dollars, and we'll pursue federal CPF dollars.
I'm answering it right, I'm just saying that's probably the number one question. Why do you think you need a $15 million fire department? We don't think we need it yet.
And
But
we'll
we're
address the fire
talking
department
about
with the
Right.
resolution.
Yeah, I was
gonna
gonna
say
say, and
that.
that's why we're passing
Just
the
Municipal
resolution.
center,
everything,
yeah.
so many questions, and I
I
wanna
think
make sure I'm
I would
saying it
encourage them to
right.
go to these events. I've seen some of the materials that they're.
What do I need to
being
go
worked
to
on
it
for the
for?
first-
I don't want it. And I'm like,
Well,
if you don't wanna participate, I don't want you there
It's hard to
either.
complain and not want
You
to.
got, You got
give
it.
feedback or listen.
Would it be
Sorry,
helpful to
both.
have, like, your presentation for taxes was so good. Would it be helpful to have something similar to that that shows them, if it's this much, this is how it impacts taxes?
So we'll be able to do that in August,
Down the
Okay.
road.
Yeah.
but we haven't had enough conversations to even know what this
What that is, yeah.
So what I was able to do with the taxes conversation is we have all the data, so we know what the median home was, and we can do the analysis. We don't know what the square footage
Yep.
is right now.
There's so many moving factors right now.
So
with
like when we were
bonding
talking
and-
about potential services that might come in, some suggestions would potentially bring partners that bring wallets.
Mhm.
You know, so some people have said, hey, maybe a library. The county's expressed interest. If they come with potential funding. A post office, if that were to come, that comes with potential federal funding.
Yep.
Like, but
And there's
it
3 or
has
4
all these
others
other
of those
second
that
and
we
third
need to
order
figure
effects.
out.
And so,
DMV, like Delano?
no, thank you.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not like Richfield either.
Just ask.
Yeah.
But
There's a
there are some other
daycare.
ones though that
If
are pretty cool.
there's a daycare, does that come with federal funding?
Not a daycare, but there has been a
If it's a
request.
Leering-
I'm not a daycare.
if it's a Leering
I just
center.
want to know, is there
Leering center.
funding?
There's
If it's
been
a Leering Center, there's
Oh,
lots
Leering
of
Center.
funding.
A Leering
Corcoran Leering Center.
But on a serious note, there's been a request from the Rockford School District to consider a preschool.
Yes.
Because there isn't a preschool within the Rockford School District. If that were to happen, that would bring potential state funding and then also school district funding.
They don't have a preschool program?
Not in
here.
Corcoran,
Not in
Oh,
Corcoran.
not in Corcoran, okay, yes. I'm like, they have one in Rockford,
yeah.
early childhood.
Yep, but they'd like to do something
Yeah.
potentially over here.
But the idea of activating a civic campus with that kind of amenity. So come downtown, you go visit, you know, grandma and grandpa across the street at St. Therese, get your burn permit. Pay your
Stop at the indoor
utility bill,
playground.
drop your kids off.
Cool,
Pay
thank
your
you.
utility bill.
All right, and then,
Anything else?
anything else from
No, sir.
staff? For council, I had something, but I think it got covered, just with the open house, and the next council meeting being, work session and council meeting being the,
Economic
not right.
Development Strategic Plan
I wrote the wrong date down,
February
but yeah,
12th.
February 12th.
February 12th. I
at
wrote
5:30.
127, which is
I will be
not
in Hawaii
at all
at that
what
time.
this is. Oh, you will? We'll have fun.
Okay.
Do we have at least 3? Me
On the
and,
February 12th?
yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. Sounds good.
I
So
won't be here on the 27th, though, not that we have to have a quorum, but
on the
I will miss
27th of
that one.
February?
Yeah, for
Okay.
the,
I keep looking at
for
that,
the
like we
open
have a
house.
calendar there, we haven't for
It's an
over.
imaginary calendar,
Yep.
Dominic said.
Okay, so we should be good, so yeah, and that work session is at 5:30 actually.
That's correct.
Perfect. Anything else from council? With that, I will entertain a motion to
I'll
adjourn.
make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Cheers.
Aye.